Hello, my loves. In January, I actually sold over 50 items on eBay. Now, I do sell also on Poshmark and Mercari, but this video is focusing specifically on eBay and my sales in the month of January. If you are new around here, I am a full-time educator, so I really just resell very part-time. I tend to do things in chunks when I have breaks or on weekends, but during the week I just kind of, let things float along. I don't really list. I just ship things as they sell out. So January, I was out of town basically the entire month of January. So this just goes to show that you can kind of just let things coast, still make sales, and still make money as you're on vacation. So if you're not into reselling yet, or if you don't yet have a side hustle, what are you waiting for? You definitely can make money for it in the year of 2023. It seems like a lot of people are really taking up different side hustles, and reselling in new and used clothes can be something that you can make a pretty significant amount of money on. With that said, if you're not subscribed, now's the time to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That allows you to learn as I grow on my journey, and then I can learn from you as well in the comments. And being an educator, I consider myself a lifelong learner. So if there's anything that you see in my video or that you just want to make note of for other people to know about reselling or different brands that are selling, of course, make sure you put that in the comments. With that said, I do have my phone here, of course. Always have coffee or some kind of drink in hand as well. I do have, I think it's like allergies going on right now. I don't know if it's a cold or allergies, but I gotta keep hydrated here, at least, keep my throat a little bit moist, as they would say. My first sale on eBay in the month of January was actually a loft orange jumper dress. This came from some free inventory that I sourced through, originally I was connecting with the same person through Nextdoor, but we've definitely moved on from Nextdoor at this point. I just periodically go to her as she cleans out clothes. It's primarily loft. With this particular dress, it only sold for $4, and the buyer did overpay on shipping just a little bit, so I did make money on that. Now, this next piece came from a ThredUp rescue box. If you don't know, you can actually get clothes that were donated to ThredUp that either weren't accepted or they reached their consignment period and the client didn't ask for them back. So this was a piece in one of those ThredUp rescue boxes. This was a Pleasant County Golf Club women's tennis shirt. Somebody very specific was looking for this item for this specific country club. It sold for $7.20. The buyer did pay $8.99 for shipping for it. I know sometimes it seems like you get things that are very specific niche, and I recommend picking it up. You never know who is going to be looking for it. That specific tennis shirt probably was a lot more money full price, and somebody was just taking a chance on eBay looking to see if there was anything else, and I'm the one who had it, so I was able to sell it. This next piece came from my mom. Actually, it was a Ray Dunn coffee mug. It sold for $6. The buyer paid $5.99 for shipping for it. This is something that she actually got from a Buy Nothing group. She got it for Easter last year, used it, and she wanted to go ahead and send it to me to sell or have me list it. She actually keeps all the items at her house that she sends me the pictures for to sell, and then she does the shipping out for it. So all I have to do is really put the pictures up, put a quick description, and she pretty much does everything else. So it kind of works out for me. Now we're still just on January 1st. The last piece to sell on January 1st was a pair of Madison Harding alligator print loafers. These sold for $10. The buyer did pay for shipping for these, and these actually came from a flip lot in which I bought out at a $4 cost of goods. So I didn't make a whole lot of money on those, but I still made some money so that I can spend on other things within my life that I just love to enjoy. I did go to the Florida State Fair yesterday, and I spent about $100 from my reselling profits. And of course I probably would have done that anyways, but just the fact that I didn't have to worry about spending an extra $100 because I have reselling to fall back on, just makes me feel a little bit better. Like I am appreciating the smaller things in life because I have this little bit of extra income from eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. Now this next piece came from a thredUP rescue box, which quite honestly I lost money on if you're looking at piece by piece, but I try to look at the big picture as a whole because some items I've sold for $50. Some items I sold for 99 cents, such as this one. It was a something navy pair of shorts. The buyer did pay 99 cents, but they did pay $5.30 for shipping as well. As I was just saying, the good with the bad, some high, some low. This is another piece that came from nope, this did not come from a thredUP rescue box. This was actually on consignment, in which I had a 50-50 split. So I didn't make quite as much money on this as I was originally just thinking. But this was a Moschino cheap and chic woman's beige jacket blazer. This sold for $85. The buyer did pay $8.99 for shipping. And again, I did have to go ahead and pay out the client for that because it was on consignment. This next piece came from somebody, the same person from Free Inventory. Anytime you see Loft or Tommy Hilfiger or Next, it's pretty much a guarantee that it came from the same person. This was a navy graphic color block t-shirt dress. It sold for $12.10. The buyer did also pay for shipping for it. Again, that was free, so it was all complete profit to me. This next piece also was free. Actually, the next two were now on January 3rd. It was a Tommy Hilfiger. Of course, Tommy Hilfiger, like I said, you can guarantee or almost guarantee. This was a women's dress. It was navy and white gingham print. It was off the shoulder. It sold for $18.60, and the buyer did go ahead and pay for shipping for it. Now this next piece was an Ann Taylor Loft piece. It sold for $11.99, and it was a gray, like very speckled, multiple colored print sweater. Another Loft piece, another piece of Free Inventory. This was a Loft blouse. It was a medium black and white striped textured shirt. This sold for $7.99, and of course the buyer did pay for shipping. I usually charge the buyer shipping unless I've had an item for a really, really long time. What I do is I initially list an item for just whatever the eBay recommended amount is, and then I list it for $8.99, and then I drop it $1 each time I relist. So if it ever is free shipping, it means I've had it forever, and I really just need to take whatever I can get from it. This shows me I didn't have it that long because it still did just have the eBay recommended shipping on it. This next piece came from somebody else that I connected with through Nextdoor that I am on consignment with. This is a Calvin Klein women's gold and black 3/4 sleeve V-neck dress. It was super sparkly, and the sparkles got literally everywhere. Like, I was vacuuming the nooks and crannies of my car because obviously I transported my car, and then my carpet, like, it was just everywhere. I packaged it up immediately after I took pictures, and there was still glitter everywhere, like literally everywhere. So I'm happy that somebody took this, and they seem to be happy with it. I got positive feedback with it. Anyway, this sold for $20.22. That tells me I did send an offer to it. That 22 cents is just like my little hint to myself that I did send an offer. The buyer did, of course, pay for shipping for this one. So we're now on January 4th. On January 4th, I sold an Ann Taylor Loft black gray Ponte knit blouse. Of course, this was Free Inventory. This sold for $5. Of course, not getting that much money off of it, but it was free, and it was something out of my house. This next piece also came from Free Inventory. Of course, most of my things come from Free Inventory nowadays. This was a Michael Kors black and silver dress. This sold for $31. It was new with tag. The buyer also did pay for shipping for it. This next piece also came from free inventory. It was an Adidas women's logo black t-shirt dress that sold for $12.20. This next piece came from a thredUP rescue box. It was a black skater mini skirt. It sold for just 99 cents, and the buyer did pay for shipping for it. Now on these thredUP rescue boxes, my cost of goods is somewhere between $1 and $2, depending on which box it came out of. Some boxes I buy with a coupon, or when they're on sale. Some boxes I buy just full price, or I should say bought, because I kind of committed to not buying these boxes anymore because things sell for 99 cents. I do still have 2 boxes in my garage that I've literally had since August, but I also got all of this free inventory at the same time, and that obviously does a lot more. It does a lot better on eBay than the thredUP rescue boxes, so I listed that first. It's also straight out of somebody's closet, so I don't really have to steam it or do anything with it. It's a lot easier to list versus the thredUP rescue boxes. They are smelly. Like, sometimes people don't wash them before they send them in, so then I have to clean a bunch of stuff. If I can't clean it, I steam it really good just to get the smell out. So there's just a lot more work with the thredUP rescue boxes compared to the free inventory. This next piece, actually, I've had since 2020. This was a Panini Prism Keenan Allen football card. Now, back in 2020, it was a big thing. I think it was from Target. They would sell these like packs of cards. You know, they still sell packs of cards, but it was a big thing in 2020 where you would put just the pack up on auction and somebody would buy the unopened pack. I did buy I bought 3 boxes. Well, my mom did really. 2 of the boxes we just sold unopened. The 3rd box we were just seeing what it was all about, and we opened, and it hasn't done that great. This one sold for $1.01, and it was free shipping, which cost me 99 cents. So that I actually kind of just gave away for free. This next piece also came from free inventory. It was an Old Navy tie-dye sweatshirt dress. I actually loved this dress. I was kind of hoping nobody bought it, but they did, so I took the money. It sold for $24. The buyer also did pay for shipping for it. This next piece also came from the free inventory. This was an anti-lock garden split nut swing dress. This sold for $23. The buyer also did pay for shipping. This next piece came from a thredUP rescue box in which my cost of goods was roughly $1. It was a meat curve black cutout mesh underwire swimsuit. It was a one-piece swimsuit, brand new, sold for $8.40. I probably could have gotten a little bit more money for that, but I really, was coasting because January 8th I was out of town during that time, so I was just like, oh, money as I'm on vacation, I'm gonna take it. But I also would just really want to get rid of some of this inventory that doesn't really bring in that much money. This next piece I actually got from a reseller mystery box from Southern Stone, like well over a year ago now. It was a cost of goods of $6. This was an Anthropology HWR, which was the brand. It was a pink or red kind of mixture cardigan. It ended up selling for $10.90. The buyer did pay $1.99 for shipping. So like I was saying, I kind of dropped the price of shipping $1 every time I relist. The fact that it was $1.99 for shipping tells me, like I said, it was over a year ago. It just kind of reminds me that I've had it for so long and I should just let it go, cut my losses. I definitely lost money on that one, but again, it's just I had to cut my losses at that time. I did make a significant profit from the box overall. It was just this one specific piece that I was hanging on for dear life, and I just needed to get out at this point. This next piece was actually free inventory. It was a loft lightweight cardigan, like a periwinkle color. It sold for $14.40. The buyer did also pay for shipping for it. So this free inventory, this loft really is doing good for me. If you can get your hands on loft and it's in new or excellent condition, meaning it's been worn like 1 or 2 times, as is most of the stuff in here, I do recommend it. I know it's just like a simple mall brand, but if you are just like turning and burning and just trying to, be more of a volume seller, Loft really does it for me. This next item to sell was from a flip lot in which I bought out for a cost of goods of $2. It was a Calvin Klein men's dress shirt. It sold for $8. The buyer also did pay for shipping for it. This next piece came from a free inventory from the same person that I've been connecting with, that I originally connected with through Nextdoor, but we've since, moved on in our relationship. This was a loft bell sleeve blouse. It sold for $9.40, and the buyer did pay for shipping. Of course, this next piece also came from that free inventory. It was from the brand Next. And this was a Next dress in size 10 UK, which is a US size 6. If you didn't know UK sizing, it's kind of like 2 up sizes from what we are in the US. So a 10 in the UK is a 6 in the US. This did sell for $1.99, and the buyer did pay $7.99 for shipping. I do not recommend picking up Next if you see it at all. Even though sometimes it's like kind of cute stuff, to be honest, I don't recommend picking it up because it does not go for very well. So it is kind of like H&M, like kind of like on the cheaper side, but a little bit trendy still. All the stuff that I've gotten that I'm listing now that I get from the same person from Next, I'm not listing. I don't know why I said I'm listing. I'm not listing from them. I am actually taking some of the Next clothes to buy, sell, trade, and if it doesn't sell at buy, sell, trade, I'm actually just donating it. I have a clothing closet at my school. Like I said, I am an educator, and I just take all of my like unsellable inventory to that clothing closet. Kids, when they're dress coded, they go to this closet to get clothes to cover up, but also if they just, don't have money for clothes, or some of them, quite honestly, just go in there to shop, and nobody gets offended by it. I work in a kind of low income area, so we provide basically everything to the students, and we don't really ask any questions. We just, if it's there, take it kind of thing. And, a lot of the kids benefit from the clothes that I donate. So I'm not really mad about having to donate some stuff, and I'm not worrying about listing it because Next really just isn't doing it for me. All right, so this piece or this item that sold comes with a story, a kind of frustrating story, but a story nonetheless. It was an Elemis Advent Calendar box. Now, in the listing on eBay, you can choose to put new with tag, used. I selected 4 parts only. 4 parts only. It was very clear in the listing. The title says Elemis Advent Calendar Box. Just the box. In the description, it says this listing is for the box only. Also, the buyer asked me a question about the items being used, and I said the boxes have been used, but they are in good condition. When the buyer received this, I didn't hear anything back for like a week and a half, thinking everything was good. A week and a half later, they come back saying there was no Pro Collagen Cream in the box. It was false advertising. They want their money back. I said, I can provide a return. I can provide a partial refund. I cannot just refund your money. They went back and forth, back and forth. I reached out to eBay. eBay categorized this as buyer's remorse. They saw my title, they saw my description, they saw our messages back and forth. They, encouraged me to accept the return because I did have returns on my listing, but they did categorize it as buyer's remorse. I did go ahead and just say, you don't need a return. I can just refund you your money, meaning the price of the listing itself, not shipping. So I refunded the money. A couple days later, there was a dispute on my account saying that they reached out to their credit card company and they put a dispute. So then all I did was take pictures of my listing. I took pictures of my chat with eBay because eBay sends you an email with the transcripts. And I said, eBay already categorized this as buyer's remorse. They said I did not have to accept the return. I accepted the return anyways because it is my policy, but I just refunded the money. I said, in this case, the seller is not in charge of paying for the return shipping or the original shipping because it was not not as described. It was just buyer's remorse. So I was checking every single day for like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, to see what they were going to do with this. And it was just sitting in review. When I logged into eBay each day, that's the first thing I would do, is check to see what happened with it. Well, finally, it just disappeared. There was no more dispute. It just disappeared. I checked to see if I ended up having to refund the buyer or anything like that, and I didn't. So I'm assuming that all of my evidence went through and the buyer, didn't get their money back, or maybe eBay refunded them, but it just wasn't my problem. I didn't hear anything else for it. It was just so annoying, the fact that I had it listed so many times that it was just the box only, and they were mad that they didn't get any Pro Collagen Cream, but they weren't mad that nothing else was in the box. So obviously they knew there was, not everything was in the box. They just wanted this cream specifically, and I think they just probably didn't read the listing and they wanted to, get one over, but that really wasn't my fault. It was all in the listing. They didn't read. We are now on January 13th. On this day, I sold a pair of Cabby jeans. These came from a flip lot that I bought out for a $4 cost of goods. These were bootcut style jeans. They sold for $11.30, and they were size 8. Also on January 31st, I sold a piece from that same free inventory. This was a Gap women's tunic blouse. This sold for $10, and the buyer did pay for shipping for it. Now on January 17th was the next time that something sold. This was an Ann Taylor loft dress. This sold for $10, and the buyer did pay for shipping for it. Also on this day, I sold a Michael Kors burgundy or plum colored dress. This also came from the free inventory, and this sold for $19.50. The buyer did also pay for shipping. On January 19th, I sold a loft light pink off the shoulder top. This came from the same person with the free inventory. This sold for $6. The buyer did also pay for shipping for it. On the same day, I did also sell another piece from the free inventory. This was a Calvin Klein shirt. It was a men's shirt. This sold for $4.80. This came from her husband, and the buyer did pay $7.99 for shipping for it. So it was relisted twice, that tells me. These next two pieces also came from free inventory. They were Tommy Hilfiger pieces. The first one was a blue, tan, and white color block dress. This sold for $12. The buyer also paid for shipping for it. The next piece was also Tommy Hilfiger. It was a woman's blue, red and white striped dress. This was like a polo dress. It was new with tags. It sold for $32, and the buyer did pay for shipping. Now this next piece was returned, but I'm gonna mention it anyways because, it's real life. People return things and, there's nothing wrong with it. This one was due to fit. The person got it, they tried it on, they returned it, it didn't fit, I got it back. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it. This was an Ann Taylor Loft, a women's denim or chambray dress. This sold for $12, and I have to go ahead and refund the buyer because, they returned it, but I did not have to return the shipping because it was for fit. Moving on to January 22nd, I did sell another piece of free inventory. This was a loft shirt. It was floral ivory, just pink kind of glittery shirt. This sold for $7.99. The buyer also did pay for shipping for it. Now this next piece was canceled, which I'm actually kind of upset about because I thought it was a pretty good sale. This was an MCQ Alexander McQueen dress. This came from a flip lot. It did originally sell for the $48, but again, it was canceled because the buyer didn't pay, which is the reality of eBay. People buy things and don't pay for them pretty much all the time. Moving on, another piece that sold from free inventory. This was an Ann Taylor Loft women's shirt. It was a size small blue eyelet shirt. This sold for $5.10. The buyer did pay for shipping. You see these, $5 sales coming through, which, isn't the most exciting sale, but thinking that it came from free inventory and it's something that triggered more sales, like I'm really not that mad about it. This next piece came from, where did this come from? This was a ThredUp Rescue box. This was a Lululemon Be True hoodie. This sold for $16.90. The buyer did also pay for shipping for it. So some sales, like I said, are 99 cents. Some sales are $16.90. I've had sales before from ThredUp Rescue boxes that are more in the $50 to $60 range as well. So you just have to kind of take the good and the bad with it. I would say $16.90 is not that bad for a $1 cost of goods. Now this next piece sold while I was on a cruise. This was a Gap women's short skater skirt. This sold for $12.70. The buyer also paid for shipping for it. Another piece that sold while I was on a cruise and another piece of free inventory. This was an Ann Taylor Loft women's crochet lace front 3/4 sleeve shirt. This sold for $10 and of course the buyer paid for shipping for it.